we as individuals, we tend to find stress over and over, the same emotional cocktail, the same addiction to the same emotional charge over and over and over again. And when we learn to dig down deeper underneath the illusion, underneath the surface, we find that it's the same fear being projected, the same anger that's being projected, the same as the Course in Miracles saying, the same annoyance being projected of life to give us permission to feel a certain way. And I myself, I love movies. If you've done the hero's journey, you know that I believe I love the way that art reflects our reality. And if we're open to certain concepts, we can take away from them, because great movies stick because of the way that they mirror our experience. And one of the movies that for us, I've got 7 kids, 5 left in the home. I always like to, I have 7, but I'm moving down. I don't have as many, like I'm moving out of it, right? I like to make sure that I give you that qualifier, but I've got 7 kids. And so for me, kids movies, and one of the movies series that really always sticks out for me is Harry Potter. And there's a specific movie, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. It has a great lesson in shifting narrative and really defusing charges that we find in our day-to-day. It allows us to shift down deeper. And here's a scene I want to show you from the Prisoner of Azkaban. Hold on here. Let me share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Let me turn this down for folks. It's a little bit high. So in the scene, Harry's in the school and he's learning defense against the dark arts.
Intriguing, isn't it? Would anyone like to venture a guess as to what is
Can you
inside?
hear it okay?
That's a boggart, that is.
Very good, Mr. Thomas. Now, can anybody
It's a
tell me
boggart.
what a boggart looks like?
No one knows.
When'd she get here?
Boggarts are shapeshifters. They take the shape of whatever a particular person fears the most. That's what makes them so...
So terrifying, yes. Luckily, a very simple charm exists to repel a boggart. Let's practice it now. Without wands, please. After me. Ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Very good. A little louder. Very clear. Listen. Ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
This class is ridiculous.
Very good. Well, so much for the easy part. You see, the incantation alone is not enough. What really finishes a boggart is laughter. You need to force it to assume a shape you find truly amusing. Let me explain. Neville, will you join me, please? Come on, don't be shy. Come on. Come on. Hello? Neville, what frightens you most of all? Sorry?
Professor Snape.
Professor.
My teachers always frighten me the worst too.
And I believe you live with your grandmother.
Yes, but I don't want that boggart to turn into her either.
No. It won't. I want you to picture her clothes, only her clothes, very clearly in your mind.
She carries a red handbag.
You don't need to hear. As long as you see it, we'll see it. Now, when I open that wardrobe, here's what I want you to do. Excuse me. Imagine Professor Snape in your grandmother's clothes. Can you do that? Yes. Wand at the ready. 1, 2, 3. Think, Neville, think.
Ridiculous!
Wonderful, Neville, wonderful, incredible. Okay, to the back, Neville. Everyone form a line.
Harry, he's got a little deeper. Some of us have a little deeper trauma than others. Some of us have a little deeper,
Form a line. I want everyone to
maybe
picture
a
the
little
thing
darker.
they fear the very most
I don't think
and turn it
when we
into
really
something
dig down, it's still the boggart.
funny.
Whenever we look at
Next. Ron.
it. Ron steps up and he sees,
Concentrate. Face your fear. Be brave.
first or second, he sees the monster that appeared to him there and imagines something that's ridiculous.
Wand at the ready, Ron. Wand at the ready.
Ridiculous!
Yes! You see? Very good, very good. Marvelous. Absolutely very, very enjoyable. Parvati. Next. Step up. Show us what you see.
And it goes on and on and on. And we get the point. So, I was thinking about how to present this, well, so last night my kids have been, COVID has had them out of school, and COVID has had them, um, they've been staying up all night, so their whole time orientation has been wrong, and we're getting ready to start school on Monday. So we've been sending them to their beds, and they've been staying up till, geez, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. And my wife and we got to get up. I got client calls. She's a hospice nurse, so she gets up at like the crack of stupid, and so like 2:30 in the morning, we're going out there telling them, and then I get all this charge that comes up. It's like, you guys aren't listening. You got to go to bed. You got to go to bed. So last night, 1:30 in the morning, I'm having this dream about Mother Aya, and then all of a sudden, I get woken up by my 12-year-old son, who is he's got this little whiny pitched voice that if he's not getting his way, and it woke me up, and so I sent them all to bed, and I'm angry, and I'm frustrated, and I'm stressed out, and I'm laying back in bed, and I'm just processing like, oh, I'm so mad. Oh, these kids don't listen. And then I remembered this process that I'm getting ready to share with you, and I sunk down underneath the illusion of what is. I sunk down underneath the pain and said, okay, what's really going on here? What's really going on here is I'm not being heard. What's really going on here is that, and so it's about, all pain, all suffering comes from three things. It comes from less, loss, and never. Either I'm going to get less of something, there's going to be a loss, or something is never going to happen. It's always when I go in and I track down the suffering and go beneath the surface, what I find is all suffering is focused on me, and so, okay, well, what is it about me? And the truth is, and it almost makes the truth is that the reason why I was feeling so much anger is because I didn't listen to my parents. I didn't care, and so I was projecting on them that they don't care about me, that they don't matter to me. And then when I got that truth, the problem is whenever I get a download like this massive download hit me, and I started thinking of all this stuff and all these situations to where I'm living out of this shadow, now I couldn't sleep because my mind is now racing, and it's plugging in all this stuff. And so, the interesting thing about this movie is that he had a great lesson in shifting narrative here and defusing charges that we find in our day-to-day. Harry's learning a new spell, how to defense against a boggart. Now, a boggart is a shapeshifter that usually lurks in dark spaces. It's got no definite form. It takes the shape of what is most feared by the person who encounters it. And when it's not inside of the person, it's believed to look like just a dark blob. Well, interestingly enough, chiefly, and we look at British slang, a boggart is a despicable or contemptible person, usually a man, or an annoying or troublesome thing or situation. We learn in A Course in Miracles that what really upsets us what we think upsets us and what they call it annoy us isn't the reason that we think. And for this spell to work, we've got to go down into that dark space where your boggart lives, below the illusion of what perceived is causing the annoyance, to uncover something a little bit deeper, something a little more powerful. So for a brief period of time, just think of something that's annoyed you. Think of something that a situation, a person, something that you can really associate with. Now, where else do you experience the same annoyance? And start to see how it isn't the situation causing the feeling, but the judgment or belief that's just below the surface, like a boggart in a closet, waiting to take on your deepest fear, waiting to take on the illusion of whatever this reality will give you, right? You want to get to the point to where you can see that you're making a decision about yourself. Maybe it's not being heard, maybe it's not being loved. Can you start to see how the annoyance isn't about the situation or the illusion of the situation, but it's about not being loved, is being driven by some core fear that you're not lovable, some fear or some unconscious decision about how you're not getting something, you're going to lose something, or something's never going to change. And really associate and feel that it's called shadow. That's what's really driving the charge. And from this space, as you associate in the dark, it's time for some light, right? So ask yourself, what are 3 reasons why you know that that judgment is ridiculous? Right? And if you can think of 5, that's great. For me, I went to when I felt as though my kids don't care about me. On the back of my wall, I've got these pictures of all these they made this for me for Father's Day, of all the pictures that they thought that meant something to them. And these pictures are just these amazing moments in my life where I've been able to connect with my kids, and I've had moments where, and so they do care about me. Shit. Not being heard, not being in control. There was that shadow writing it as well. Well, that's not true. I moved my family from Colorado to Florida and they followed me. And that's not true because I moved them out of this situation into this situation and they followed me. None of that's true. And as I associate to each one and I feel the certainty that you're not the judgment that you've held. It's not that I'm not in control. It's not that they don't care for me. It's that I've got this projection of who I am or how I showed up or something that I did or didn't do that's really driving the charge. And we start to see with new eyes, come back and look at the situation that annoyed you and see how you can see it from a different perspective, maybe a silly one. I picture my kids. We went to Disney World and I was licking them on the face. I would just lick them on the face. You can see the pictures on the wall. I would lick them on the face. They hated it, but they loved it. They hated it, but they loved it, right? And I could see from new eyes and new perspective that, you know what, these are just little kids. And of course they can't see past their nose because that's what little kids, that's all the farther that little kids can see. It's the difference of the feeling, disconnecting from that charge and diving down deeper underneath the muck to see that dark shadow for what it really is, which is just a judgment that I have about myself based around, some story that I've created about who I am or who I'm not.